Welcome to March 2023 edition of the Central and Southeast European PropTech news. Today we will present you the latest statistics on construction and real estate in Bulgaria. We start with some information about commercial and industrial real estate. The Bulgarian commercial property market in 2023 will maintain activity around last year's levels. Main buyers are again expected to be local investors with sufficient funds or being able to obtain favorable credit terms. This is what Cushman & Wakefield Fortune is forecasting for the period. Their estimates the total volume of commercial property transactions in 2022 to be just over 270 million euro. Transactions with traditional market assets, office and retail space are predominant, while there is also a stir in the industrial property segment. Industrial rents are on the rise. The last quarter of 2022 was marked by a significant drop of vacancy rate in Sofia, which fell below 1% of the total supply. On the one hand, the active demand from retail and logistic companies led to the exhaustion of available space, and the last quarter of 2022 was marked by an acceleration of the occupiers' activity and take-up. The relocation process of manufacturing and business operations to Bulgaria, following the geopolitical pressure, gives the country a decent chance of attracting foreign investments. Despite the prediction of a recession in 2023, the expectations are for opportunities in some sectors and for investors to focus on high quality and sustainable product. The trend is outlined by Colliers in their latest country report. In the second half of 2022, the total value of investment transactions reached almost 228 million euro. This volume is over 77% of the total for the year. The distribution of investment volume by sector is as follows. 32% of the total volume is due to the deals with industrial space, followed by office space and hotels with 19% each. Retail space 15%, development land 11%, and mixed-use buildings 3%. Local investors continue to be active on the Bulgarian market, accounting for 64% of the total volume last year. IT and outsourcing drive demand for offices. Another takeaway of the Colliers report is the strengthened office market activity with high demand for contemporary space driven by the information technologies and outsourcing sectors. Working model transformation and the provision of amenities to employees have boosted the demand for flexible and co-working spaces, which will remain in 2023. Standard office space will be transformed in terms of functionality, distribution, technologies, interior design, and flexibility. This trend will continue as standard solutions will be replaced by individual ones, which correspond to the corporate culture of each company. A relatively low number of new projects were launched in 2022. In view of this and active demand, a shortage of quality office space can be forecast in the mid-term. In parallel with the higher demand for green buildings and ecosystems, there has been a growing trend toward increasing investments in sustainable assets, existing and under construction, to comply with ESG policies and regulations. Tenants will be more demanding in that type of working environment. Buildings that are not compliant will have to increase their ESG investments to remain competitive in the market. The supply of Class A and B office space in Sofia reached 2,500,000 square meters during the second half of 2022. This represents an increase of 7% on an annual basis. The vacancy rate for Class A offices is 10.9% and for Class B 16%. There is a significant drop in Class A office vacancy coming from high demand and limited supply. More than half of the available space in this category is concentrated on 8 projects, some of which are new to the market. As a result of the increased activity, the average rental rates are on the rise. For Class A offices, they vary between €13.5 and €15.5 per square meter, and for Class B between €9 and €10 per square meter per month without VAT. In the second half of 2022, the Broad Center added 7,800 square meters of the leasable area to the total supply. On an annual basis, this is an increase of 6.5%, with the most active area for development being the area of Hladilnica in Sofia. Vacancy stands at 14.5% with over 128,500 square meters under active construction. Rental rates are rising above their pre-pandemic levels following the high demand. The suburban area of Sofia traditionally has the largest supply, with a total of over 1,500,000 square meters for Class A and B office space at the end of 2022. Available modern industrial and logistics space in Sofia reached over 1,300,000 square meters by the end of 2022. This represents an increase of 44,000 square meters, or 3.3% more from the first half of 2022. In 2023, these projects are expected to be delivered at an accelerated pace in an attempt to respond to existing demand in a timely manner. Despite the absence of a regular government, the nearshoring of light manufacturing to Bulgaria is expected to continue. In addition, the redirection of orders toward operational factories in the country will stimulate the expansion. Building sustainability and ESG standards will become increasingly important for all market participants. In response to corporate requirements, especially foreign companies, a continued focus on ESG standards integration into the sector is required. And now we head on to the news in the retail asset class. Retail park stock is set to grow. Retailers that have been actively expanding over the past few years will continue to do so in 2023. This is especially valid for companies positioned in the discount segment. Retail parks will keep growing in number and geographical coverage nationwide. In 2023, the market is expected to enter a saturation phase. Consumption will be facing pressure from still high inflation, rising interest rates, and general price increases. In the second half of 2022, a total of 10 retail parks opened at 10 different locations in the country. Pernik Plaza, Via Sever in Plovdiv, Retail Park Haskovo, Retail Park Sliven, Karlovo Way Park, Holiday Park in Pazardzhik, Mondo Park in Dobrich, as well as 3 projects in Dimitrovgrad, Smolен and Rozlok. Occupancy in shopping centers in Sofia remains high following the strong consumer activity, and the average vacancy level in established projects in Sofia is only 3.8%, which testifies to the ongoing trend of recovery and development of the sector. Discount retailers and retail parks are in expansion, and the past 2022 was marked by the extremely rapid development of the retail park segment. Over 100,000 square meters of new space was opened, mainly in the year's second half, nearly 3 times above the space opened in 2021. Currently, over 300,000 square meters of retail parks are operating in the country, counting only those with a leasable area of over 5,000 square meters. The last year was marked by a rise in revenues and a recovery in shopping centers' footfall and revenue to pre-crisis levels. The only retail space expansion was realized by Park Mall Stara Zagora, which increased its space by about 8,000 square meters. New mall openings or expansions are not planned for 2023. The vacancy rate of shopping centers in Sofia posted a slight decrease within the last quarter, dropping to 5.6%, with the high-performing schemes remaining fully let. Asking rents in shopping centers in Sofia remained stable in the last quarter at €35 per square meter per month, with a trend to slightly increase at the beginning of 2023. Rents for high street shops and retail parks rose with 5%, reflecting the inflation and the associated increase in landlord costs. We go on to the residential class news in Bulgaria. The Bulgarian housing market entered 2023 with a fragile balance between demand and supply, and the market is calming down after a hyperactive 2022. Compared to 2019, when the demand was much higher, in 2022 the ratio is one buyer for one property, with less time for the purchase decision. During the last quarter of the year, 70% of the transactions were made within a month after making a purchase decision. Although the transactions have cooled down, it's still early to expect the prices to decline significantly. Due to the inertia of the market, a possible downturn could begin in the smaller cities, and they would be the first to feel a price drop, if any. In 2022, house prices have grown fastest in Varna by nearly 32% on an annual basis, and the average price per square meter in the sea capital, Varna, is already above the threshold of €1,000 per square meter. The only other city in Bulgaria that crosses this threshold is Sofia, especially in neighborhoods deemed prestigious. One-bedroom apartments are leading in buyer demand, usually sought for investment purposes. Being reluctant to spend because of the rising inflation, some people have withdrawn from the market, which led to a 10% increase in tenants. Around 30%, on the other hand, have opted to project their savings by making a property investment. Experts are encouraging those who own enough savings to proceed with purchasing a property for investment. Those who are not eligible for the bank requirements to cover 20% of the initial costs being better keep waiting. 45% of the transactions last year were made without mortgage loan, with Burgas leading the way in this indicator with over 70% of mortgage of property purchases, unlike Sofia, where more than half of the transactions were with a mortgage due to the higher prices. Nearly 20% of the transactions were completed with a loan covering between 81 and 100% of the property value in Sofia. So these were our news on industrial, retail, office and residential in Bulgaria for March 2023. You can see the other news on the other countries in the CSEE region, which we report on: Hungary, Poland, Serbia, Slovakia, Czechia and Romania, via scanning the QR code below. See you next. Bye.